This is Go All In with Sarah Leslie, helping entrepreneurs to live the life they want to live right now, making the money they want to make the way they want to make it, while also living a rich and full life outside of their business. True personal freedom. Let's go. We got a lot of really good information for you today, life-changing information. So last week I did a masterclass on this very same topic of leader energy. And I called the masterclass Be the Leader Energy. And I just shortened it here to leader energy. And I had so much information in that masterclass. I've split up the podcast into two. And as I was preparing for today, I realized I think there's actually a third podcast here that we need to look at. So it's basically a mini series on leadership and energy. And so that third one will be related to relationships. Okay. And the importance of having this type of energy where you're the leader inside of all of the relationships that you are in. Now, why is this topic so important? It's actually very near and dear to my heart. And it's so important for you because you're wanting to have an effect on the world around you. You're wanting to be the change that you desire to be and the desire for what you desire in the world, for how you want things to be different in the world. And so here's the thing. You're not able to actually affect change in the way that you desire until you establish your own leader energy. It's just not possible. And here's why, right? It's not because you're not good enough or you're not smart enough or you're not capable, like at all. It's because there's so much of who you are right now that has been socialized for you to be. Things that you have been taught over a long period of time that you are now being and doing in the world without even knowing it. Okay. So you might have a glimpse, right? We all have glimpses of those moments where we're not being the way we desire to be. And what I'm really talking about here is these very deep, held, ingrained ways of being that are as true to you as the air you breathe. And so you don't actually know even what you're doing that's really causing the problem. And so until you've actually started and are in the process of doing your own internal awareness work, you're just literally selling yourself short for the change that you can bring to the world around you and the change that you can bring to your own world. Okay. And that's why I'm here, is because I want to see you have, do, be all that you are desiring to have, to do, and to be. And the short way to think about this, right, is that you've been conditioned to be the energy that you are right now. Okay. You've been conditioned. Now, you probably have these breakthrough moments where you are like, man, I feel like I'm so myself right now, or I feel really connected to the real, true person that I feel I am, right? And people put all kinds of labels on this. They're acting in their true self, their higher self, their best self. And at the end of the day, this is what it boils down to, is you're either acting in the conditioned, socialized, domesticated self, right? Pick one of the words that you like the best. I just say conditioned self, or you're acting from that true place within you. And when we're acting from that true place within us, life feels amazing, right? You say things like, oh, life is really working in my favor this week, or things really seem to be unfolding the way I want them to right now. And the truth is, that can actually be happening all the time when you've actually gone in and done your own inner awareness work. So if you aren't loving your life right now, if you're not like, my life is so amazing, then the reason for that, right? If you're not in that zone and you're not in that zone most of the time, then you're just simply living out more of this conditioned way of being, this socialized way of being versus the true expression of you. So let's delve in. I've got a lot of good stuff here for you. Leader energy. Increase your ease in life and in business. Be the energy you actually want to be, right? Okay. In preparing for this podcast and the masterclass that I did last week, I was defining leadership, right? When I'm saying be the leader, what does that really mean? Because I think historically, when we think of leader, we think of people in power. We think of people who are wealthy. We think of people who are of a certain gender. We think of people who are at a certain economic status, a certain type of social status. And I want to completely throw all of that out the window and redefine leadership for you in a way that I now believe can help you to feel so much more connected with the leader within you. We all are created to be this leader energy. So, leadership to me now means effectively managing your own energy. Okay. This includes, right, all of your fears, your doubts, your worries, all those uncomfortable feelings, and being able to continually take inspired action in spite of those uncomfortable feelings, therefore accomplishing your goals with greater ease. Okay? So, leadership, effectively managing your own energy, especially the uncomfortable feelings, the uncomfortable energies that surge throughout us. And being able to continually take inspired, divine, connected, desired actions toward accomplishing your specific goals. In order to lead ourselves, right, we need to be clear on who we are right now. We need to be clear on what we're doing in the world right now. These two things ultimately dictate our created results. So if you're getting to the end of your day and you're not actually ending up with the results that you wanted, right? When you started the day and then you end the day and you're not creating the results that you wanted, it's an energy issue always first. So I know for myself, right? I grew up in a lovely family, parents that absolutely loved me, treated me very well in the big picture of things, right? We all had challenges growing up. And from that big picture and from the world outside, certainly looking in, I had an amazing childhood. We did move around a lot. That absolutely did impact me. And I still had this like really amazing upbringing. And yet, I felt so much anxiety, uncertainty, fear, self doubt that I did not know how to effectively manage. Now, I was able to still take action towards my goals. However, what I came to learn is that I was taking action towards goals that weren't genuinely the expression of me, right? They were actually the more conditioned expression of me. And so I worked really hard, right? Which is what is conditioned into most of us is to do really hard work to get where we want to be and to progressively work up the ladder in one form or another, whether you're doing that in working for someone else or you're doing that working for yourself. We have it ingrained in us that there's a certain pattern that we're meant to follow in order to get to the big goals. And so I, just like everyone else, was in that same boat, working really hard, checking off all of the boxes, going to college, getting my master's degree, entering the workforce, making good money, starting out at a low salary, incrementally working my way up in the field that I had actually gone to school with, right? Which is maybe a little bit less common. And feeling like, wow, this is amazing. Okay, I'm doing all the right things. Again, I was coming from that space of I was doing all the things that I was taught to do. I was doing all the things that I had seen other people around me do. And so I got to the place where all of that would bring me. And that's the really cool thing now. I had this recent awareness again as I was preparing for these talks that all of my conditioning actually did work. It got me to where the conditioning would inevitably lead me to where I was the clinical director at a treatment center in South Florida with a 150 bed population, supervising about 14 therapists directly and a plethora of staff indirectly, and responsible for the day in and day out services and goings on of the treatment center. Only to discover after several years of doing this work, while I loved the work and I loved my people, I was slowly becoming miserable. And I was so perplexed by this. It was like, how is this even possible? And I would review all of that information of my timeline that I just shared with you and be like, how is this possible that I could get to here in my 30s when I've done all the right things? Okay. And the reason you can have all of that happen, right, is because again, you're working inside of this space of conditioned energy, of conditioned pathways, versus really actually learning how to tap into my own energy, again, into my own leadership and capability of leading myself and taking action from that place. So, again, this is incredibly common if you're at all unhappy with your circumstances, right? Whether it's like any part of your circumstances. This is why. Because when we're unhappy, it's simply a reflection of our efforts to find happiness, to find satisfaction in life, to be in our purpose through improper channels, through conditioned channels, versus a true expression of yourself. So you probably also feel this deep tug, inner pull of like, I want this, but I want this, I want this, but I want this. That is why. Okay. I've talked to countless numbers of people, hundreds in my work in my first 20 years as a therapist, hearing people share their most secret, most personal stories. And this is some of the results that I have found in those many conversations with people of all walks of life, both very much struggling and not really achieving, to those very high achievers and very successful people, still coming back to this place of quote unquote miserable, which now the way I think of that is just deep inner conflict, right? With the conditioned part of ourselves and the part of ourselves that desires to be the true expression of ourselves. So when you're leading from that conditioned way of leading, right, you're not leading powerfully. And so then naturally, everything in life feels hard. Doing your job feels hard. Whether it's working for someone else or working for yourself, it all feels hard. Creating clients feels hard. Working with your clients feels hard. Your schedule feels hard. It feels like you're so busy and you never have any free time and you can't manage your own time and you think of yourself as a bad manager of your time. And we have a lot of resistance around doing the core fundamental things that we believe are the key things to, doing our work, right? Again, whether it's over here or over here, you resist doing the core fundamental things that your heart believes needs to be done when you're operating in this socialized way of being. You are also not willing, right, or very reluctantly willing to look at the areas of your life that are the most weak or the most struggling to actually address them. because that feels incredibly uncomfortable. So when we have not truly learned to be the leader over ourselves, right? The true expression of leadership over ourselves, then we're working on problems that aren't really the problems. And therefore we struggle. We struggle to make decisions. We struggle in our relationships. We struggle in those hard conversations. We struggle in conversations with family, especially when people don't agree with where we're coming from. Okay. We also find ourselves saying yes when we want to say no and saying no when we want to say yes. Okay. These are some tall tale signs when you are leading from the conditioned side of you. And so the shift here is to be in the leader energy, right? From the true expression of yourself. When you're leading from the true expression of yourself, you're in what I call true leader energy. And it sounds like I know who I am and I know what I want from life. Okay. It's this quiet confidence that people are naturally attracted to and intrigued by. And people just gravitate towards those folks who have that leader energy. They're not the like loud, boisterous people who are like trying to get attention. People are attracted to those folks as well. And when we're operating from the true leader energy within us, it doesn't feel phony or fake or uncertain. And that is what people are really gravitating towards. It's the true expression of yourself. It's the authenticity with which you're showing up with. Okay, so why, right? Everybody, like, why is it happening? This is what people want to understand. Once they really start to get here, they're like, but why is this happening? And I'll just give you like a few short reasons here. If you're unfamiliar with me, go back and start with the trailer episode, literally, where I really break it down, like why this is happening. And in every episode, I will talk about this because, again, the conditioned side of us sees our way of being right now as just who we are. And I'm here to tell you that just isn't true. So, the reason you're struggling to show up as the leader you desire to be is because this is how life works, right? We get born, we start to grow up, and between 0 to 7, we learn how to do life. And then from there, we just build onto the foundation, okay? And the primary way in which we've learned and built onto the foundation is from watching the adults in our world. So it becomes normal. The conditioned side of us becomes completely normal. You can't distinguish between the two. And so, because it's been modeled to you, you've simply learned the same energy of who they were. And now you're being that version of you. And so when we come into this work and we start doing our own inner awareness work, it feels so uncomfortable because it's so new. Okay. So it's a new level of growth for you. And every time we enter into a new level of growth, that is also a place where life feels really hard and it feels complicated and painful sometimes. And sometimes it can feel like life or death, like that just, taking a certain action that you're being inspired to do can feel like it's a life or death experience. It's that real. Okay. And that's because, again, you learned this as a child. And so as a child, your primary goal is to learn how to survive. Okay. And so if you're learning how to survive, then these things that you learn are essential. They're true, they're essential, and they have to be done in order for you to continue to live, literally. So then as you get older and it's no longer life or death, the feeling, right? The energy, the experience is still true. even though it's no longer life or death, the experience is still true. The feeling of it is still life or death. So when it's not been modeled to us, and this is how life works, that every time you're looking to upgrade and you're desiring to become a more true, expressed version of you, then there's a struggle within you to go to that next level because you're breaking off old ways of being. And lastly, I'll just say the other reason why it can feel so hard to show up as the leader you want to be is because we're around a bunch of people now as an adult. We're around a bunch of people who aren't actually on the same path that we are on, right? We're wanting to create more ease. We're wanting to be this true expression of ourselves. And there are going to be a lot of people in your world right now who are like, whoa, what are you trying to do here? You seem to be like breaking all the norms. And I don't really want to do that. Like, I want to just keep things status quo because it feels more comfortable. So just know, right? And this can be anyone, like family, it can be other entrepreneurs, it can be people at your old job, it can be your spouse, it can even be the videos that you're watching, the movies that you choose to watch, the books that you choose to read. They're still in the old rules, the old paradigm, the old way of doing things, the socialized way of doing things. Only when you start to read people who are actually doing their own inner awareness work, where they're breaking free of socialization and they're breaking free of the conditions that they grew up with in their own personal life, then the content that they're pumping out into the world, the message that they're sharing, is still shrouded by their conditions, which again, in another realm, we would call, in another, world, we would label that their limitations. Just want to hit all the different ways that people label this so you know what I'm talking about, depending on what your experience has been. So you want to be extraordinary. That's why you're here. You wouldn't be listening to my podcast, right? This is where you want to invest your time and your money, is doing your own inner awareness work to help you break free from your limitations, from your conditions, from your socialization, so that you can actually have true personal freedom where you have agency, full, complete agency over the thoughts that you think, the feelings that you experience, and therefore the beliefs upon which you are living your life. And until you're doing this work, you just simply don't have full agency over your thoughts and your feelings. And basically, that all surmises to the worldview upon which you're using to make every single decision you're making through life. So, when you go to hire someone to help you do this work, and I just believe you actually need to have someone help you, because again, when you've been this person and now you're going to try to break out of being this person, it's actually like very difficult to break out of something that you believe is fact. So I just think about it as nearly impossible. Again, I was a therapist for 20 years and I could not do it on my own, which for me is proof enough that if you're struggling and you're trying to do this work on your own, it's just very simple, right? It's just nearly impossible to do it on your own. And if you want to get there quickly, it's definitely impossible to do it on your own if you're looking for speed. So I think a great few questions to ask folks, just I'm going to divert here because I think this part is really important and was definitely really important to me as I started hiring coaches and consultants and strategists and all the names that we have for these folks. I didn't really know what to look for getting started. And so as I've evolved in my own practice and my own inner awareness work, and I'm going through rapid transformations now, just so quickly becoming more the true expression of myself in the last 5 years, like incredibly rapidly happening, where I'm getting liberated and feel free and now upgrading my own expectations of life. Some of the most important questions I believe to ask this person are, of course, what is your approach to helping me? And if you don't hear them mention something that I'm now talking to you here for going on about 20 something minutes, then absolutely get off the call immediately. Do not hire them. The other questions I think are super helpful to when you're hiring someone to help you with your own inner awareness work is things like, what's your work schedule look like? Do you feel so busy? Are you working more than you want to be working? When's the last time you went on vacation? Are you actually going on vacation as much as you desire to go on vacation? Um, what's your relationship like with the people in your life? Do you feel really good about those relationships? Because again, all of their answers are going to reflect back to you the level at which they are doing their own inner awareness work. And so you want somebody who you feel really good about the way they're showing up in their life. If they're not showing up in their life to a degree that you want to be showing up in your life, they're probably not going to really be able to help you, at least not with the speed at which is available to you. Okay. Feel free to reach out to me for more on that if you want some more specifics. And of course, if you're listening to me, I would encourage you just to set up a call to meet with me to see how I could go about helping you do this inner awareness work. So let's spend the remainder of our time really doubling down into how you can start to create your own kick ass leader energy inside of yourself right now, even before hiring someone. Or if you've hired someone, this has also happened many times when I've gotten into conversations with people where they realize after talking to me, like, whoa, I've hired a business coach and she's literally helping me create funnels and build, landing pages. And that's not really the problem. Or you've working with a, leadership coach or a financial coach or whatever title they've got, right? And you realize you're not really working on the problem. You're working on a tangible item in your business, or you're working on external things like creating clients, but you're not actually working on your own leadership energy or your own leadership sales process. Then you're probably working on the wrong problem. And or you also need to be doing this kind of work in order for that other work to actually be as effective as you're wanting it to be. Okay. So it's very, very simple. The solution is literally gaining agency over your own thoughts and beliefs, where you are seeing yourself manage your own fears, self doubts, insecurities. Like when I say managing yourself, I mean definitely with the support of the coach, of course, right? The support of the mentor, and that you're learning how to have your own ability managing your fears, your self doubts, and you're noticing yourself learning and taking action, like not overscheduling yourself, not working 14 hours a day, not staying up till 3 a.m. working on projects, unless you're consciously choosing to do that. Okay. And that when you're showing up into the various rooms that you go into, you're feeling powerful, you're feeling tuned in to the true expression of who you are, you're feeling competent and capable, and you're easefully creating clients and putting out offers into the world. If those things are not happening, then this is what needs to be happening, right? Because that's how your business moves forward. So, operating from that kick ass energy means you've got to spend time with yourself. Now, I pause here for dramatic emphasis because this one blows people away. I mean, I have worked with several very, very successful entrepreneurs. And when I help them orient to this one item, which I think is actually like the most important thing you can be doing to help yourself become the true expression of yourself and embody leader energy, is learning how to spend time with yourself. This means time alone, right? And again, most people have to progress into this. It isn't just like go be on the desert island by yourself and like you'll figure it out. No, I desire a much more easeful approach than that. However, the goal being that you could be on an island by yourself and feel totally amazing. Love spending time with your thoughts. Love spending time with the feelings that you create inside of yourself. Love how you like go through the day. So, that being said, to get started with that, right, as that being the end goal, is simply spending a few minutes with yourself each day, meaning you don't have a podcast on, you don't have other noise going, music, this, that, or the other thing. You're just literally you, yourself, and I. And then from there, right? You begin to progress into becoming aware of how you're feeling, of what thoughts you're spending time with, of what thoughts you primarily spend time with throughout the day. You become aware of the things that you say to yourself, like, I feel so fat. I feel out of shape. I feel like I'm getting old. I feel like I should be further along. I wish I was making more money. What the heck is wrong with me? That sounded so stupid. These are the types of things that we say to ourselves all the time. And really, this goes for anyone and especially entrepreneurs. Okay. And especially successful entrepreneurs who have yet to do their own inner awareness work. And so you start to spend time with yourself, becoming aware of those thoughts, of those feelings that you create inside of yourself that you don't like, that don't excite you, that don't lift you up, that don't encourage you. Okay. So, the reason why this is so important is because the way that life works, just literally the way that the world works and your experience of life, is that the energy that you're putting out into the world, the way in which you are leading yourself, is going to be reciprocated, right? You've heard this in 1,000 different ways, right? Be the friend you want to be to others, or be the friend that you want people to be to you. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. The energy that you send out is the energy that you come back. All of those things mean this exact same thing. The way that you're primarily showing up in the world, the way that you're leading yourself, is what you're going to attract to you. So if you're deeply feeling insecure, you will draw in things that confirm your own insecurity and also are insecure in some ways, right? So you'll be more attuned to listen to the news where there's a lot of uncertainty and insecurity going on. You'll be more attuned to drawing in friends and relationships that are also resonating insecurity. Okay? That's what that actually means. Number 2, focus your attention intentionally. In order to have really kick ass energy, right? This leader energy, you have to be able to focus your attention on purpose. So when you're wanting these great, amazing things in your life, you're wanting your life to have the extraordinary flow going, right? And you want to feel so good about the money you're making, the trips you're taking, the relationships that you have, you must be able to focus your attention. If you can't focus your attention, you're going to be scattered and all over the place. So that means we have to move through the conditioned parts of ourselves that does things out of obligation, that does things out of people pleasing, that does things because we want other people to approve of us. This also means you have to be able to set really clear priorities, right? These are the things that are important. These are the things that I know are going to get me where I want to go. And then when you notice yourself driving off the road, you're like, oh, nope, I got to bring myself back. So if you're not able to bring yourself back, then you simply know you're not operating in your own leader energy, which means you're operating out of your socialized, conditioned way of being in the world. And number 3, last one, number 3 that I have for you today is to be clear and direct in your communication with others always over what feels comfortable or easy. Okay? So being clear and direct in your communication always. That is how you have leader energy. You show up as a boss of yourself and a boss who's accomplishing the goals they desire to accomplish. You know you're struggling with your own leader energy if you're not having clear and direct communication with everyone, including yourself. This means you're willing to say no, and you do say no when you truly want to. And then the opposite is true. Even when you don't see like the big picture or you don't have like a full understanding of what's going to transpire, you are still in alignment with saying no or saying yes based on what you believe to be the best thing for you and then others. Okay. That's what clear and direct communication embodies. And you're able to stand in the truth of your decision versus feeling overwhelmed with fear and self doubt. This is really important, right? Because there are moments, right, where you do the hard thing and it's like, oh, I did the hard thing. However, when you're doing it that way and from that energy, that's actually your socialized energy. And over time, right, you're you just have a day or a two where you don't feel as good or you can't keep up that facade of like, yes, I can do this hard thing. And then time gets away from you. And before you know it, you're literally like your schedule is out of control and you're working till late hours of the night. Or you make a little, compromise here and there and you say yes when you really want to say no. Or you help out someone because, like, oh, they're, a friend of a friend and you feel like you should. And then you just realize, oh, wait, I'm actually still operating in the conditioned side of myself because I don't actually know how to manage my own fear. And instead of managing the fear, you get overwhelmed and taken out by the fear. Does that make sense? So, leader energy is what people gravitate towards in business and relationships, everywhere. It's who you are being in the world. And this comes through acquired skill sets, repetition and practice, and allowing yourself to shed the old ways of being. You are not just naturally embodying these skill sets right now. You're just not. Because again, for, 99% of us on the planet, we become very socialized and conditioned, which is different from you being the true expression of yourself. So you won't just get them as you turn 18. You don't just get them as you become an adult. You don't just get these skills when you become a business owner, right? You go into entrepreneurship and you think like, why is it still so hard? This is why. Because you actually have to learn specific skill sets to actually embody this type of leadership where you are able to effectively manage your own internal energy. Okay. When you do this work, which is the work I do with my clients one on one, helping you, guiding you, showing you the way, helping you to allow this process to be so much more easeful and easy, right? When you have that third party who's very skilled and very trained to do this type of work, life everywhere for you gets to be more easeful and more easy. You literally gain time back that you didn't know you had, and you gain energy back again that you didn't know you were missing or could even have back. All right, you guys, thanks so much for joining me. That's it for me. Don't forget to link and subscribe to my channel, and all the links that you need to get in touch with me will be here in the show notes. Between now and when I see you next, go be extraordinary. Ready to hire your own personal one-on-one mentor and coach to help you embody this leader energy and take your life to the next level? Go to my website and sign up for a no charge, no pressure consultation where you and I can get to know each other better and I can hear all about your vision. I can help you see exactly what is in your way right now. And if it feels like a good fit, we'll talk about the details of my one on one signature upgrade program. You're also welcome to shoot me a direct email at sarahlesliecoaching.com.